June 27th, 2013. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 23 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome once again to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall, and sitting next to me, probably gambling in his mind, is Dr. Mike.
As usual.
You're thinking about it, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. I'm always thinking about it.
We were talking a few days ago. We had a good session this last weekend at the casino. And we were talking on the phone. You said, boy, every time we have a good session, I can hardly wait to get back.
Oh, it's just, it's like you get home and you think about it, you go, oh, I wish I could head back right now. And of course, life gets in the way.
Yeah. Everything else you have to do.
Yeah. All those things.
Of course, if you'd gone right back, you probably would have lost all your
Exactly.
money, and then you'd be in a bad mood all week.
Right. And the good thing is, sometimes the anticipation makes it so much funner when you're headed out there.
Sure.
It's one of those things. If we went every day, gambled every day, we'd probably hate it after a while. Be the end of the podcast.
All right, let's get on to our listener. We got an email from one of our listeners, Mike in Torrance, and he had some suggestions for some topics. I thought, he actually asked some good questions, so let's just go through his email and kind of talk about what he suggested. He was talking about players clubs. He said, maybe talk about your experience with different players clubs, how they operate, differences between them, etc., how to utilize and get the most out of your casino host, and how to use casino credit to maximize your comps as opposed to bringing cash. So we've talked about players clubs in the past.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, one of the things that we really want to emphasize is whenever you're in a casino for the first time, the first thing you should do is go to their players club and get a card and start getting rated. Right,
exactly. There was a time years ago when I don't want to be bothered with that.
Yeah.
And, that's silly because you do get quite a bit. And even a very, very light gambler in a casino will still get quite a bit of comps.
Oh, yeah. And usually a lot of times too, they have incentives for just signing up.
Oh, sure. Right.
Some kind of cash. In fact, I don't know if you remember, I took my mom up to Harrah's Rincon a couple years ago, said, sign up for a players club. And they said, you get a free $20 free play, slot free play, just for signing up. Yeah. She went over to the slot machine, put that 20 in, won like 80, and then went home.
Yeah.
Because basically just got $80 for free.
He's a smart gambler.
But yeah, always sign up. If you don't have a card at the casino you're playing. The only reason I could think not wanting to sign up if you were some kind of advantage player and you wanted to stay under the radar for some reason.
Yeah, I suppose.
But otherwise, take advantage of, what they're going to give you back.
Right. And even if you're never going to be at that place again, let's say you make one trip to, Atlantic City, and you're playing in a casino where that's the only casino and you may never go there again. You still never know, you play a little bit and get a free meal.
Right. Free meal or at least something. Sure. In his email, Mike says that he is a total rewards player. He for years was a diamond, but then life got in the way, like we talked about. Yeah. And he said he went down to platinum and now he's down to gold, but he still gets a lot of offers from them. And he mentioned the MGM Mirage plan, which is M Life. Those are kind of the two big players clubs, right? Total Rewards is part of Caesars Entertainment, and then M Life is part of MGM. And, they're the two big ones. They're certainly big in Vegas. And beyond that, it's the players clubs are kind of isolated or, just local, kind of things. But he was saying that he gets very little, as far as comps or offers from MGM, M Life.
And we never have either. We've never got much from them.
Yeah. But he still gets stuff from Total Rewards, free rooms and that kind of thing.
Right.
And I'll tell you that has definitely been our experience. Now, a couple episodes ago on the Gambling with an Edge podcast, they compared Total Rewards to M Life. And in their podcast, they kind of just talked about some of the specifics. But here's the bottom line for me. Total Rewards, there are so many more locations
Go way more locations.
Just around the country.
Right.
And they are very generous with room offers.
Yeah.
So any complaints you might have about other comps, I don't know, but Total Rewards is really good about making room offers.
They send me stuff at least 5 days out of a week.
In the mail,
I get something in the
mail,
in the regular mail.
Yeah.
I get, and the mail only comes 6 days. And at least 5 of them I get something. If I don't get something from Caesars, my wife asks, what's wrong with the mail? Did we get all the mail today? There's nothing here from Caesars. And a lot of them are room comps, like, for New Orleans and, Kansas City. I get stuff for Kansas City all the time. The East Coast. I mean, you get stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I just happened to look last night, and I have 110 offers.
Really? Oh, online?
Online, yeah. You can go online and you can put your Total Rewards number in, and you can put your passcode, and it'll pop up and it'll tell you, what your tier score is and what your reward credits are, and then it'll tell you how many offers you have.
Right.
I had 110 offers.
Right.
And I was just going down the list, and I mean, they do it alphabetically, and there's, Bally's, and there'll be like 20 offers from Bally's in the next, and it's only, for the next couple of months.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. I don't even know how you could take advantage of that.
See, there's another comparison with MLife. MLife online, you've probably not logged into MLife, but yeah, it's not nearly as good a website as far as looking up your offers or, what you've got coming. Well, Mike in his email says, a few years back, I played for maybe 45 minutes at Main Street Station downtown, and I'm still receiving free room offers. Now, you and I have a similar experience with Golden Nugget.
Right. We used to play at Golden Nugget religiously.
Well, this was years ago. This was like 15 years ago.
15, even 20 years ago. We were big Golden Nugget fans.
Yeah.
And, I still like the casino, but we've kind of over the years just got away from that. And part of the reason is because Total Rewards.
Right.
But we happened to be in Vegas on a trip last October.
It was October 2011.
Oh, that's right. October 2011.
A year and a half ago.
Yeah, so a year and a half ago. And we went downtown because we were with some other people, too.
Right, they wanted to go downtown.
And we wanted to go downtown, so we all went downtown, and, we're playing. And we played, what would you say, an hour maybe?
Maybe an hour, maybe 90 minutes. It wasn't long.
It wasn't very long.
At Golden Nugget.
I am still getting stuff. I mean, I get something, at least one a month from the Golden Nugget offers.
Me too.
And the casino host has called me 3 times, I'd say, in the last 2 months.
Really?
Yeah.
She's calling.
She's called me and asked if, are you be coming out? She invited me to a craps tournament. Wow. Then she called and invited me to something else. And, what can you say? I was like, well, maybe I don't know. But yeah, and I've turned her down twice, and she still called a third time to ask.
What a difference, right? Here we're talking, and this is just the Golden Nugget, right? They've got their own players club, right? So, boy, it sure does vary.
Well, the marketing, and I don't think the Golden Nugget is really hurting for players. I mean, it's always pretty busy in there, and it's got a great reputation.
Yeah, well, it's the place downtown. It's kind of the strip property downtown, right?
Right, yeah. Right. And so I doubt if they're hurting, but I just think they do a good job at marketing themselves, where some of these casinos, it seems like they could care less.
Yeah. I
mean, have you ever gotten anything from Treasure Island or...
Well, no, but when's the last time we played at Treasure?
It's been a long time. Yeah. But even when we played there fairly often, I never really got much from them.
Every once in a while, we were talking earlier, you and I get something from Wynn every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Right, in the mail. And we haven't played there for a long time. Venetian Palazzo, when's the last time you got something from them?
Oh, well, now I do get stuff from the Venetian, but it's every third month or something.
Yeah, they kind of pulled back on their comps a while ago, and then I guess they're coming back. Well, anyway, it sounds like we're shills for Total Rewards, but it's just been our experience. It does, it helps that there's a Total Rewards property close to us, right? And we can take those and take them to Vegas. But even on the Wizard of Vegas forums, somebody put up a poll and said, what's better, Total Rewards or MLife? and Total Rewards won the poll like crazy. I haven't
down.
looked recently, but it was so lopsided, it was ridiculous.
Well, the thing I like about the Total Rewards is that you not only get rooms and food, but as you progress, and when you're a diamond or a 7-star, but even diamond players, you get a lot of other stuff. Like I said before, 7 stars, I get every 3 months I get a gift.
Yeah, just something.
Just, so 4 times a year I get a gift.
Yeah.
And the last one, was this, you have your choice of 4 or 5 things, but, I took this mixer thing that at the store at Macy's, it costs like $250.
Yeah.
And, it's a KitchenAid mixer thing
that
my mom wanted. My wife already had one. So, I gave it to my mom. It's just free stuff like that. They don't really have to do that.
Right. Yeah. They're
I'd still be going whether I got that gift or not.
Oh, so. Now that reminds me, before we go on to more of Mike's email here too, as many listeners know, you're 7 stars.
Right.
But it comes at a price, doesn't it?
Oh, it sure does.
Tell them the problem that you have.
Oh, one of the things about 7 stars is, so when you play, they rate you, and then it goes into the computer, but you stop playing, they clock you out, they
at the table,
basically close your account for that table. But for you to immediately take advantage of the credit you earned for that night's play is a nightmare. Most people, other people, diamond members like yourself, or even a platinum member, it's instantaneous.
Well, now
not instantaneous, but it's quick.
But it's quick. And what you're talking about is like we've been out there when it's like, oh, come out on Saturday, and for all of your play up through like 9:30, you'll get credited, and we'll give you cash back. So we always stop at 9:30, have them close the account. Now I don't. It's not because you're 7 stars. It's just because you're throwing around a lot of money at the table that night.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I get clocked out pretty quick because I'm not playing with as much money.
Right.
But apparently, the money you're playing with takes like extra.
Yeah. Someone else has to okay it, and there's some kind of procedure, and they tried to explain it to me, and it goes through several channels. It goes to this computer and then to that computer, and then and
somebody's got to approve it. Apparently,
yeah. And by the time it gets where I can actually get it, it's 20, 30 minutes has gone by.
Yeah.
And so last time we were there, I kind of complained about it a little bit, and I said, well, why do you punish a 7-star player, who's throwing around some money? Why do you punish them? And I really couldn't get a good answer.
Yeah.
They told me, oh, you need to talk to this certain woman who was in charge of the promotions, right? But she didn't come out and talk to me. They said she was there, but she didn't come out. Someone else came out, and then she kind of gave me the runaround. And it all ended up, she says, well, the best person to call is John Sebastian, who's head of the
casino operations.
Gaming. And our experience with John.
Yeah, so if you've listened to one of our previous episodes, John Sebastian's the guy that I sent the letter to saying, hey, would you consider changing one of your craps rules? And I never heard back from him. It's been about 2 months.
Yeah, so, I told, and I said that to the lady. I said, oh, John Sebastian, the guy that we sent a letter to, and he never got back to us. And she said, well, email him. So, that's not going to happen. Anyway, it's a minor thing.
Well, it's happened so many times.
It's an annoying thing.
Well, you and I will go out together with your dad. We'll finish playing. Your dad and I will go up to the counter, get our rebate immediately, get our credit for our food immediately, and then you're running your card through, and it says, you still have to play a certain amount before you'll get anything back. And here you've played more than him and I together, right? So,
and the funny thing is too, sometimes when a casino rates you, as we've mentioned before on the podcast, there's a certain amount of voodoo associated with that. We've
talked about it before. It's
strange.
Table game.
Table games are so subjective.
This last week, we went with your brother.
Right.
And your brother was standing right next to me. We were both playing at the same table, and I was betting significantly more than he was.
Yeah.
And at the end, we got about the same amount of credit.
Right. And I was betting way more than you.
Yep.
And I got almost twice as much as you, but we figured out from what we were playing, it should have been about 3 to 4 times as much as you.
Yeah.
So how they rate that, I have no idea. Slot play, if you're a slot player, you get rated
Oh, it's
perfectly.
Instantaneous, right? Because
It's
you put your card in,
instantaneous,
it knows
right.
exactly
The
what
machine
you're doing.
goes
Yeah.
into the computer. They know exactly how much you bet every single time.
Yeah.
With table games, especially craps, because, one time you could be betting, say, at $25 on the line, and then say you're losing and you could go down to 15, or you're winning and you could go up to 50. But whenever that guy looks over there is how he rates you. So
Yeah,
if he
right.
looks at you when you're betting 15, you're a $15 player.
Right, for the whole night.
For the whole night.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
If he, and if you switch to 50 and 3/4 of the night you're betting 50, it's just like it doesn't even count.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, we've beaten this to death. Let's move on to more of Mike's email. He wanted to know, how do you utilize and get the most out of your casino host? And you use casino hosts more than I do, so I'll let you take this.
Yeah, it's a good idea. First of all, get a casino host.
Yeah.
Even if you're I don't know if a platinum player, as far as total rewards would go, they would give you a casino host, but definitely if you're a diamond and a 7-star, they assign you a casino host, and you should always make an effort to either introduce yourselves to them or, so a lot of times they'll come and introduce themselves.
They will,
to you.
but sometimes they won't. So sometimes you have to hunt them out.
You have to hunt them down, but most of the casinos have an office where you can go in, and even if it's not the host that you're assigned, you talk to somebody, and that's the person to ask if you want anything,
right? Because
they can do stuff. I don't know if you remember the last time we were at Caesars. I can't remember what it was we wanted, but it was something. Oh, I'm sorry, you weren't there. It was when my brother and my wife and I went, and we wanted to get to see a show.
Oh, yeah.
And we went to the casino host, and he got us tickets to a show not at Caesars, but at another Harrah's property. And, he comped it and everything.
Yeah.
So he got us 3 tickets, and it was sold out.
Right. Yeah.
But, he got us 3 tickets. So there's always tickets. So you got to take advantage of those hosts, and they're more than happy to do that for you.
Sure.
And they have the pool to do it. So
yeah. Oh, and I remember years ago too. There were a bunch of us that were staying at Caesars. There were it was like a guy trip, and there were like 9 of us, and we were going to see a football game. Remember, it was the XFL game.
It was the XFL game, right?
And you talked to the host, and they basically drove us to the game in a limo, and it was nice.
That's another thing. You can always get rides.
Right, to and from
the airport. To and from the airport.
Yeah.
If you talk to the host, they'll just comp you a limo to the airport. I mean, it's really, it's a few dollars in gas to them, but it makes you happy and it gets you back to their casino. They'll pick you up at the airport. And that's another nice thing. If you have a host and you make reservations, then, call your host up, make the reservations with the host. Don't go through the regular, reservation desk.
Right.
Make it with the host and then say, oh, we're flying in at such and such a time. Could we get a ride? And most of the time they'll give you a ride to the casino.
Yeah.
So, it's quicker.
It's quicker. They're just waiting right there
They're
for you.
waiting right there and saves, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah. You tip the driver, of course. That's still going to be cheaper than a cab ride.
Oh, significantly. Yeah.
Again, Mike in his email says, talk about how to use casino credit to maximize your comps as opposed to bringing cash. Now, here's the thing. Here we are, 2 guys hosting a gambling podcast, but neither one of us has ever used casino credit.
No.
I think there are reasons for it.
Sure.
One huge reason, I think, is like when we go to Vegas, we rarely stay in one place. I mean, we're moving around like crazy.
Right.
We're not, let's take a break and then come back to this craps table. No, it's like, let's go to the next casino. Let's move on, right?
Right. And that's the one thing about casino credit. I mean, if you're going to go to the cage and put $10,000
or even give them your bank account, right? To draw from. Yeah.
You're almost committed to stay at that casino, right?
Yeah.
And we like to move around amongst different Harrah's properties or other properties,
right? Drive downtown or wherever.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, we don't use that much.
No. Plus too, there is kind of that risk that, if it's so easy to just ask for more credit, you're at the table, give me another 1,000. Whereas if you're forced to go get money, it kind of forces you to walk away from the table and think about it and think, maybe I should stop, right? I don't want to get crazy here.
And for me, that's a good thing. I mean, I seriously, it's because sometimes you think, okay, well, I lost. That's what I brought and I lost and that's it. I'm done.
Right.
And if you could just go get it quickly.
Yeah,
You
just
know, that,
ask right there for another marker.
Yeah, that that would keep you at the table, and probably you're probably better off taking a break.
So there maybe are some benefits to, certainly if you're staying in the same place, it makes it easy. You don't have to carry around a lot of cash.
Yeah, well, the big benefit is, for me anyway, would be you don't have to carry around a lot of cash.
Yeah. But, gosh, every Vegas trip, we're just, play here for an hour and then move on. We're just, from one place to another. So it's just not practical for us, Later in Mike's email, he was talking about card craps. Now, here in California, the law states, the compact that the state has with the Native American tribes, is that games of chance, table games of chance, have to be card-based. In other words, you can't use dice. You can't, so that basically leaves out, traditional craps.
Right.
You can't have roulette, right? Because that's not based on cards. It has to be based on cards. And so Mike was saying, well, what are some of the other, how have some of the casinos gotten around this? How have they used cards to play craps? And he's familiar with a couple of the ways they do it, but there are actually quite a few. I think with all the card craps, the one single consistent element in all of them is that they use cards ace through six to represent rolls of a six-sided die.
Right.
Sure. So they use decks that only have ace 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to represent, the roll of a die. So I think that's pretty common.
That's pretty common. Now, though there are some where they have the combinations.
Right. Yeah. We'll talk about that. Yeah. But I think that the simplest way that I've ever seen for simulating the roll of two dice, they used to do this at Barona. They would have just two separate continuous shuffle machines that only had aces through sixes, maybe like 8 decks worth of just aces through sixes.
Right.
Two separate continuous shuffle machines, and every roll of the dice, like the pit boss or the stick man, you call him the stick man, would take a card from each of these continuous shuffle machines and flip it over, and that would be the roll.
Right.
So if one of the machines, spit out an ace and the other machine spit out a 4, well, the roll's 5.
Right.
Right. And then they'd put, each card back into its respective continuous shuffle machine and then, be ready for the next roll.
Yeah.
I think that's certainly the easiest, I think.
Oh, by far the easiest. The only thing I don't like about that, it does take away the dice throwing.
Right. Right.
So, and the thing when we did play that way, I don't know, there's just something about it's less for the person to do.
Yeah, it's the player, the shooter isn't doing anything.
Yeah, nothing at all. It doesn't really matter who the shooter is, right? Yeah. I mean, they shouldn't even say, "Oh, you're the shooter now." It's just
they would try to get people involved, like, "Okay, you're the shooter. Give me a number between 1 and 6." You remember this? It was like every roll,
right?
And you'd say, "Okay, 4." So what they would do is they'd take 4 cards out of each continuous shuffle machine.
They take 3, and the fourth one,
one would be the one that,
yeah.
That's how they'd get you involved in the game,
right. And I don't know. That's just silly, really. I mean,
but that's one way. Another way. Now, this was the first way that we ever saw, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this was the first California casino to play craps using cards.
That would be Palma.
Palma, not Paula. Paula's fairly big. Palma,
Palma.
Pauma.
Yeah.
A small casino.
Right.
Very
small.
North County north of San Diego County. And what they would do is they had a single shoe, a single continuous shuffle machine, again with cards just ace through 6, and a joker. And so the way that it would work is they'd pull one card out of the deck, out of the shoe, and it'd be like a 3. Okay. Now, there's one less 3 in with all those cards. So the joker that was already in there
automatically becomes a 3.
Would take the place of the 3 that had just come out.
Right.
So if the next card is a joker, then you've got a 3 and a 3.
Right.
Right. And if joker were the first card to come out, it'd be no roll.
Right. They just do it over.
It doesn't represent anything, right? They just put the joker back in the continuous shuffle machine. Yeah. And I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah.
But again,
it keeps it consistent.
And it's true odds.
Right.
And that was the thing, is that they wanted to get a a craps game going where it was really like the true odds of a true craps game.
Right. Now, there are some, we've seen a game where it isn't true odds.
It isn't true odds. And we'll talk about that at the end because that's something you can even take advantage of.
Yeah.
You know, this Palma, though, sort of ironically, even though it was the first casino that we saw craps out, they don't have it there anymore,
No,
do
they don't. No, and you know what? They pretty much got rid of most of their table games.
Yeah.
Last time I was there, and it's been a while, it was pretty much all slot machines, and they have a few blackjack games, and that's it. I don't know why. I think what happened was all of a sudden, Rincon had it, Craps, and Paula had it, the ones close by,
right?
And they were bigger casinos, and they had 3 or 4 tables, so probably nobody was playing craps there.
At Palma, yeah. They did. I bet that's true. All right, so you've played craps at Paula, which is close to Palma. So tell us how they do it there.
It was a while ago, but as I remember it, the shooter would roll dice, and then depending on what you got, like 2 through 7, then you would get a card from this shoe, and if you got 8 through 12, you'd get a card from the other shoe, like there'd be a red shoe and a green shoe, and then they would flip over the card. And on the cards was 2 dice, a picture of 2 dice with some denomination like a 3 and a 4. So that'd be a 7.
Okay, so the cards, they weren't using cards that were like ace through 6, like most places. They had cards that actually showed one of the 36 rolls just on the card themselves.
Right,
okay.
And they were bigger cards. They were these big cards. And it was just it was a goofy system.
Isn't that funny? It's just, it really the underlying thing here with this card craps in California is that it's so stupid they have to go through this. It's just dice, right? I mean, they turn over a card that has a picture of 2 dice on it, basically.
Right. I mean, does it surprise you? This is California. I mean, you can go over crazy laws like crazy here, and this is just another example. Just make it legal to have dice.
Yeah, well, maybe that'll happen someday.
As soon as we can get Bob Filner to be governor, I think we could probably get
He is a little crazy. Yeah, I don't actually live in the city of San Diego.
I live in the city. He's a wackadoodle, but he would be good. He'd probably go for this.
Yeah, we should write him. That'd be the next person I'm going to write.
Yeah,
forget about John Sebastian. Let's write to the mayor of San Diego.
Let's go right to Filner.
Yeah. So a couple other ways that we've seen card craps dealt in California. Now, we go to Harrah's Rincon. What they do there is they have 2 continuous shuffle machines, again, with ace through 6. And one deck is red and one is green. And before every roll, they take 6 cards, ace through 6, out of one of the shuffle machines, say the red one, and put them out on the layout in numbered boxes 1 through 6. And then they do the same for the green deck.
Right.
Right? There's a separate green area.
Right.
And what happens is each shooter takes 1 green die and 1 red die and shoots.
Right.
Right? And so then the stick man calls out the numbers that have come up on the dice. He always says the green one first.
Right. They say green first.
Right. So he'd say like 1, 5. There was 1 on the green and 5 on the red. So they would turn over the green card that was in the 1 slot,
right,
and the red card that was in the 5 slot, and look at the cards, and maybe on the cards it was 2, 4. So the roll is a 6.
Yeah.
I should have used a different example because 6 were on the dice too.
Right.
2, 6, and it's an 8.
Right.
But the idea is that the cards that come up are the ones that determine what the roll is.
Right. In that case, each die determines which card they turn over, and the card gives you your roll.
Yeah, the card gives you a roll. And at Barona and Sequan, we've seen a system kind of similar to that, but actually simpler, where before each shooter, they mix up just 6 cards, ace through 6,
right,
and they do a little shuffle, on the table, and then they put them face up on squares again, numbered 1 through 6. They don't have 2 sets of cards, just 1 set, and they put them in 1 through 6. And then a shooter just rolls regular dice,
right,
and whatever comes up on the dice, again, they call out those numbers. Oh, on the dice it was, 3, 4. So they look at whatever cards are in 3, 4, and
that's your roll.
The difference is here that at Harrah's Rincon, they shuffle the cards after every single roll,
right,
and they deal them face down.
Yeah.
But at Barona and Sequan, the cards are up and they stay where they are for an entire shooter.
Right. So the thing I don't like about that is after a while, I mean, you can look immediately and see what 7 out is.
Right.
So, a 4 and a 3 might be a 1 and a 6 on the dice or something.
Right.
Or a better example was a 4 and a 3 might be a 6 and a 5 on the dice.
Right.
So, if 11 comes up on the dice, it's 7 out.
Right. So, please no 11, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
right.
with Rincon, there is some mystery.
There's some mystery. It makes it a little more exciting.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll flip over the green card. Like if the point's 6, they'll flip over the green card. And if it's a 3, they hesitate a little bit and then they'll flip that red one because, you were hoping for a hard 6.
Right.
So
they add a little drama to it. I kind of like that too.
I do too. I mean, it's kind of like, when the dice land and you see one stop and the other one's still going and you're hoping, come on, please be I like that.
Well, finally, we're going to talk about something that they deal out at Viejas, which is close to us. Another card craps version called Play Craps. Why would you call something Play Craps? I'm going to go Play Craps. Play Craps is the name of this game that's, they've got a patent on.
John Sebastian probably came up with
that. Probably that. Poor John. We're going to have to, I'm going to email him and say, hey, we're ragging on you pretty bad on our podcast, John Sebastian. So here's the thing at Viejas, this Play Craps. It is one continuous shuffle machine, again, with just aces through 6s, but they don't have any other cards in there to offset the card that's come out. So in other words, they'll start to they'll take a card out and let's say it's a 3. Well, now there's one less 3 in that continuous shuffle machine.
Right. So it's a lot harder to make a hard 6.
Right. I don't know about a lot harder, but it's harder.
It's harder.
Right.
Yeah.
So there really is one less 3 in there. It is a little harder to make a hard 6.
Right.
And because of this, there's actually a positive EV for the player if you're playing the don't. Because, in the example, you take out a 3, now the hard 6 is a little harder to hit.
Right.
And hitting any 6 as a result is a little harder to hit. Right? So if 6 is your point and, a 3 comes out, now the chances of you have 6 coming up are even less. If you play the don't, and they have 10 times odds out there. If you play the don't and you lay the full 10 times odds, you actually have a positive EV in the game.
Yeah.
You can take advantage of that.
Yeah, which means that if you stood there forever and say played a million rolls, you could win money.
Yeah.
However, in a short run, so people understand, in a short run, that may not help you.
I'm not going to go out there and try to make a living at it, but it actually is a game you can have a positive EV for. And I'm going to post a link to an article that discountgambling.net wrote about it, because it's a very good article about this specific game, Play Craps. And the guy who wrote the article also noticed that this continuous shuffle machine also has kind of a buffer area where cards aren't immediately put back into the machine.
Oh.
So beyond just the single card that comes out, there are other cards that you can see and know aren't back in there.
Well, that would significantly increase your chances.
Right. So he wrote a very good, it's a lengthy article on it, but I'll link to it in the show notes for anybody who's interested. It's a very good article.
The only thing about that is, and it's probably why the game's still there. I mean, if the EV was so positive that people were winning all the time, the game would be gone.
Right.
But the game's probably still there because, first of all, you have to play the don't.
Right.
and a lot of people don't like that, myself included.
Right.
And, the EV is so small that in a short run, anything can happen.
You've got to be laying 10 times odds, right? So you need a pretty big bankroll for it, right?
That's another thing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there was one more card. You may not even heard of this. There was one more card craps example. There are some casinos, and I'm sorry I don't know which ones, where they have a single continuous shuffle machine with aces through 6s in them of all 4 different suits, right? So a bunch of them. And so what happens is when the first card comes out, if it's say the 3 of spades, when the second card comes out, it has to be a non-spade for it to be a roll.
And if it's a spade, then it's no roll.
If it's a spade, then it's no roll, which happens quite a bit.
Right.
But that's the way they get around it is, okay, we've taken out the 3 of spades. So now, only the clubs, the diamonds, and the hearts count for the second die.
Right.
And of course, that's real odds, right?
Sure.
That's the way around it. But again, about once every 4, not quite, but once every 4 rolls is going to be no roll.
Yeah.
So that could be a little tiresome.
Right. Yeah. I think you mentioned that to me before now that I think about it. But yeah, I'd get a little tired of, no roll.
Yeah.
It's like some idiot throwing the dice off every 4 times he rolls.
Yeah, it's right. Right. Too tall.
Keep him on the table, buddy.
Yeah. The final thing in Mike's email, he wanted to know about how to find out about the best video poker machines in Vegas. And I'm just going to hand this one off to an excellent website. It's called vpfree2.com. And I'm not sure what the 2 is for, but it is a website that lists good video poker games for casinos all over the country. And all you have to do is go to you can search by casino, by area. You can just go to the Las Vegas area, and it doesn't show every video poker machine in every casino, but it shows, as far as I can tell, all the machines that pay like 98% or more.
Okay.
And it says what the games are, the return, and where they're located in the casino. It's like, this banking machine is over by this.
Well, you don't want to play
area.
any that are below 98 anyway.
Right.
So,
and I wish we'd known about when you got that big $5,000 free play at Caesars. I wish I'd known about this website, because we sat there and played 8-5 jacks or better.
Right.
When we could have gone to a 9-6 machine that was, at a different location.
Right. Somewhere.
But I'll link to this in the show notes. It's vpfree2.com. So
that's V as in Victor. Not B.
Yeah. VP stands for video poker.
Yeah.
Free stands for, I guess it's a free website. And the 2, it's the number VPFREE, the number 2.com.
Okay. Very good.
I don't know what the 2's for.
Yeah. A lot of people get V's and B's mixed up.
Yeah. But this is not video poker. It's video.
Video.
It's video poker. Yeah. All right. Mike in Torrance, thank you very much for the email and for giving us plenty to talk about here. Maybe too much to talk about.
Yeah, we might have talked a little too long on that, but anyway, it's a great question.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So let's move on now to our poker home game segment. This is the segment of the show where we talk about a game that you're not going to find in a poker room in a casino, but that you might play with your buddies when you get together for a poker night. And we're going to talk about a game called Hawaiian Punch. And I have never seen Hawaiian Punch listed on the internet anywhere. I found out about this game years ago.
Yeah.
And I kind of introduced it to our home game.
I remember that. And
it plays like poker as far as betting and what have you goes, but you're not playing poker hands. But let's talk about how it's played. Everybody antes to begin with, and then each player is given 5 cards down. And then 5 cards are dealt face down in the middle of the table. And these are not community cards, but we'll say what happens with them in a minute. Now, you look at your 5 cards, the way that you determine the value of your hand, again, you're not looking for a poker hand. Instead, you're adding up your cards as according to their blackjack values.
Right.
Okay? So that means aces are 1 or 11, face cards are 10, and every other card is equal to its rank.
Correct.
All right. And the idea is to make a very high hand or a very low hand, because it's a high-low split game.
Right.
At the end, whoever has the highest hand will split with whoever has the lowest hand. Now, here's how the game works. First, there's a betting round, and you can determine how much you want to bet ahead of time. You just make, a maximum of $1 or whatever.
Right.
After that first betting round, one of the cards in the middle of the table is turned up. Everybody who has a card of that same rank has to discard that card.
So in other words, that card's no good for you anymore.
Right. So if the first card is a king, everybody with a king has to discard their king.
So
right?
You lose 10 points. Right. Which would hurt you if you had 3 kings for going high, but it would help you because all of a sudden you got a low hand.
Right. So now again, yeah, right. The value of your hand may have changed. If you had a king, it might have gone down. Right. And then we have another betting round. And the way we play is we just move the betting, who starts the betting just to the next player. We just rotate it around.
Move it around.
Betting round, and then a second card is flipped up in the middle of the table. Say it's a 7. Everybody has to discard their 7. and a betting round. That continues until all 5 cards in the middle are face up and everybody has discarded, those cards. So at the end of the game, every player is going to have anywhere between 0 and 5 cards. Maybe you discarded nothing. Maybe you discarded 2 or 3 of your cards.
Maybe you discarded them all.
3, theoretically, you could have discarded them all. We've never seen that happen.
Hand.
We've never seen that happen because you'd have 0 as a total. You'd be guaranteed to win low. We have got it. At one time, I think it was Mary, got rid of all but 1 card.
Yeah, right.
So that's the lowest that we've ever seen. So again, everybody's going to have from 0 to 5 cards, and you have to show everybody how many cards you have.
Right.
You always have to have it in front of you.
That's very important. Keep your cards in front of you.
And then at the end, it's a high-low declare game. Right? So, if you see somebody with 5 cards who's been betting aggressively, well, chances are he's got a high hand, right? And if you see somebody that's gone down to 2 cards, well, chances are they've got a pretty good low hand. You got to watch out. And you just declare, high-low declare at the end. And again, whoever has the highest hand splits with whoever has the lowest.
And aces go 1 or 11, just like blackjack.
Just like blackjack. And that's why it's possible to go both ways.
Right.
As an extreme example, let's say you had 4 aces and a deuce.
Right.
Okay. Well, your high total is 46. Right. Each of the aces is worth 11 and the deuce is worth 2. Mm-hmm. Well, and for low,
you've got a 5.
You've got a 6. What? Ace,
four,
ace,
four,
ace,
yeah,
and
4
a deuce
aces
is a 6, right? Right. And so you've got a great high and low hand. Of course, in that case, you'd go both ways. Right. I don't know if we've ever seen anybody go both ways, but you need aces pretty much to go both ways because the high hands are typically in the 30s, maybe high 30s.
Probably.
Because somebody has like 3 face cards and something. And the lows are like in the teens.
Yeah,
like 13.
Sometimes it'll get down into the single digits.
Sure.
Most of the time it's like 13, 14.
Right.
12.
So you have to see. If somebody has 5 cards, they could very easily have a total around 40, something like that.
Sure.
And if somebody only has 2 cards, well, it's probably under 10.
Right.
So, you can decide whether to stay in or fold based on that. The kind of hand that you really want to start with is like a pair of kings and a pair of queens.
Right.
Because the chances of you having to discard those is slim because there are only 2 of each left. And you've got 40, right?
And if you do have to discard them,
you're discarding both. Right.
You might have a low hand. Trips is actually.
Oh, yeah. Like you've got 3 kings.
3 kings is great, right? Because you're either going to have the high hand or a pretty good low hand.
Right. Because either you're going to have those, for high, you're going to have at least 30 points just with those cards. Or if you have to, the case king comes up on the board and you have to discard them, now you only have 2 cards left.
Right.
Yeah. So, but so again, it's not poker, but it kind of, the betting is kind of like poker. You have to see what are people doing, who's being aggressive. Obviously, people who haven't discarded, you've got to put on high. People who've gotten rid of cards, maybe you have to put on low. It always is kind of nice that somebody has 5 cards and they're betting the whole way. And then like a queen comes up on the board and they have to discard a queen. It's like, oh, now they have only 4 cards. Did that really hurt their hand significantly?
Or they have to discard 2 queens. So they could have maybe 25 and lose high, right? And they don't really have a good low at that point.
If you have a total that's somewhere in the 20s,
you're
unless
you've
got like a read on somebody, it's like, oh, there's nobody out here who's playing low. I'm just going to go low and hope that I'm the only one who goes low. But
we always play this game declare, by the way.
Right.
So you can declare low and have 30, but if nobody else declared low, you won low.
Right. I think it works better as a declare game as opposed to cards read. Right. Because if all you had is cards read, there's no real risk. You just turn them over. But, if you're looking, you're thinking, gosh, he's got 4 cards.
Right.
Is he betting because they're all low or, does he have a bunch of face cards?
Right.
And, so you have to think about
Nice thing about declare games and this game and all the other games we played declare is as people fold, if it gets down to where there's only 3 people, there's one person, the third person's always in just hoping to guess.
Right.
They've got a mediocre hand, but they're hoping to guess, well, maybe they're both going high, I'll go low. Maybe they're both going low, I'll go high. So it keeps that third person in.
Yeah, especially if it's just for one more bet. You're just playing limit. It's like, oh, okay, just another $1. Sure, I'll just call and guess.
Take a guess. Right.
It doesn't matter what my cards are, right? It's just
I love that because it keeps people in the game.
Yeah, that makes it good.
Just to play devil's advocate for a second, but shouldn't this be the game we did on our 21st podcast? Because it's a poker game, but it reads like blackjack.
So that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. Don't forget to email us with questions and comments at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. Of course, visit our website, youcanbetonthat.com, where you can check out our show notes and leave comments. Follow us on Twitter. We always tweet when we're on our way to a casino or at a casino. And, we got some feedback on that too, saying, hey, if you tweet when you're already there, that doesn't give us time to meet you out there. Right. Especially a place like Harrah's Rincon that's,
kind of out there,
not close to anybody. The problem is a lot of times you and I don't know we're going till like right before we go, right?
But we do know that this Saturday, which is June
29th, right? Yeah.
June 29th, we are going to be at Harrah's Rincon for the end of the month. Usually the last Saturday of every month, we're almost always there.
Right, because that's where they have their $50,000 giveaway, and they've got other giveaways every hour.
But we'll be there this Saturday from say 7 o'clock to midnight.
Something like that, right. Yeah. So if we know in advance, I'm going to try to give people like 24 hours notice now when I tweet. So if we know we're going out, I'll tweet early so it'll give you some time to make arrangements, cancel your other plans, and come meet us out there at the casino. Because Mike still wants to give away a $30, right? $30 pass line bet?
Well, it's $40 now.
Really?
Yeah, it's $40 now.
Wow. This is great. It's dialing for dollars. Like I said, it's $40. $40 pass line bet for free. That's better than the casino gives you.
Yeah, right. Most people don't get that in their
He will
cost.
Give that to a listener that comes out that we have not met before, but that listens to the podcast and comes out and meets us there. We've also got a Facebook page, facebook.com. You can bet on that. And please review us over at iTunes, too. If you give us a good review, it'll help us get more listeners. Mike, what else have you got for us?
Nothing.
Great. Thank God. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.
Good night.